Hi everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here, this time reviewing on issue 2 of Ultimate Armor Wars. Now, as you know, Ultimate Armor Wars is supposed to be the ultimate take of the popular Iron Man story, Armor Wars, that was adapted from the whole 1994 Iron Man cartoon, as well as adapting it for Iron Man Armored Adventures. And of course, this one is supposed to be the ultimate take, telling a completely different story from the main Marvel version. And the cover mainly has Ultimate Tony and Justine Hammer basically taking on whatever they're dealing with. And the story mainly starts off how after the events of issue 1, we see how Ultimate Tony as well as Justine Hammer work to kind of get all of the Iron Man armor secrets back. And we see how, Justine's more amazed with Tony's lavish lifestyle and her saying, you know, my daddy was rich, but he never had anything like this. And much like much like main Marvel, Justine Hammer's ultimate counterpart is meant to be an old man, but I can see where newer ones were trying to go with a more slightly younger Justine Hammer to sort of be that foil to Tony. And we even do see how Tony offers Justine a drink, and we see how they basically, after spending a night of passion together, we see how they work to kind of get the intel that they need. And Justine uses her connections to point out that one of the armor secret passages obviously went to a guy in Berlin who's also known as Dr. Factus, who also is kind of meant to be a kind of more Dr. Frankenstein-like character, and points out his activities in Berlin. And we see how Tony gets his next Iron Man armor on, and due to him not being able to kind of use his iconic one from the Ultimate stuff, he mainly uses a special kind of Iron Man armor known as the Iron Man. And of course, this one is supposed to take down these sort of copyrighted armors and the sort of forgeries of them. And after making their way to where they need to go, we see how they make their way to Dr. Fatus's location. Turns out he's been using the iron armor to make his own sort of eagle-like henchman. And we see Tony saying, I guess we've come to the right place, given that Eagle here appears to be wearing primitive Iron Man technology. My name, the Leopard. And even Tony's horrified by Dr. Fatus's actions, and even sees that the head of all of his old victims. And we see him saying, these are worse than those paintings with eyes that follow you around the room. And we see how they end up meeting Dr. Fatus, who says, because, my dear Tony Stark, we are all so vastly more than human that I expect nothing short of God and goddesses to enter this room. And we see how he kind of greets them, and of course, we see right away that he has his henchmen use their sort of forged Iron Man armor, but of course, Tony using his special Iron Man armor to deactivate the whole pirated ones, and saying, Tobias, kill for daddy. But right away, we see how Ultimate Tony uses his new suit, and right away takes down the second henchman, and saying, What did you do? And we kind of see how Tony wants to kind of get the intel of where else he's giving it to other people. But we kind of see how he points out that inside his head, there's a tiny little version of MODOK. And we see how they later learn that somewhere else in Germany, that he sold the rights to a sort of lord from a sort of faraway kingdom. And Tony mainly gets his Iron Man armor on, gets to the castle, and right away fires a missile to get where he needs to be. And we see him saying, Herr Velsin, I believe you have something of mine. And we kind of see how, Tony now realizes that he's wearing a more darker, sinister version of his armor, known as Dreadnought, which is obviously meant to be the ultimate version. And Tony saying, wait, you bought exclusive use of my stolen armor base too? Oh, seriously, is that armor a sex thing? Because I'm totally non-judgmental. And we see how they both try to duke it out. We kind of see how they both fire blasts at each other, ending the story that will obviously lead up to issue 3. And my best thoughts on issue 2 is okay. It definitely knows it's trying to tell a basic Iron Man story, but it's just using what they had to at the time, or having to decide what characters to use for the Ultimate Armor Wall storyline. Definitely not the best, definitely not the greatest, but it's definitely still readable. So it still deserves a thumbs up. Not the best, but it definitely has its redeemable moments. So, comic book reviewer here, signing out.